This is my computer game level prototype, and the name of the game is Subject 12. It is a first-person action-adventure, and the theme is a sci-fi future research station. The mission brief, which would be a cutscene, is that the player has just woken up in this research station, and that they don't know who they are and why they are there. But what they do know is that they need to escape. The first thing the player sees is a hint on how to look, move around, and jump, which is something they can't really miss. Therefore, the first challenge is for the player to jump over the security force field generator, which was powered but is now off. They then find more hints from a mysterious 11 that tells them that light blue boxes can be interacted with and that doors can be opened by pressing E. This is the first challenge with a fail state. If the player pushes the box forward, the level would reset. This is iterative learning, as the player now knows that all light blue boxes act in the same way. After another hint from 11, he learns that some white objects can also be interacted with. Once the player is through, they find the physics gun and also learn how to use it. They can fire by pushing the left mouse button and interact with objects by using the right mouse button, which is immediately used in the next puzzle, so the player must pick it up before they can continue. This is done using blueprints. We learn later that all the hints are written on the walls by previous subjects who have had to go through the same challenges. At this point, the player is confronted for the first time with destructible meshes, in this case these red platforms, and he's not really too sure what they do. But once he's got over, he can see that after a certain amount of time, they fracture. They now see a blue object blocking their way, and they are not too sure how to get past it, as it's too large to jump on, so they shoot it and learn that blue objects can be shot. Again, this is further evidence of iterative learning. These objects that fracture are also created using blueprints. At this point in the game, the player meets Subject 11, who then explains that he has been the one who has written all of the hints on the walls but is now stuck, so he asks the player for help to get to the other side. The player then navigates through the bots, escorting the player by pressing F. This is also accomplished using blueprints for both the death balls and for Subject 11. The death balls move using delays and target points, and Subject 11 moves by using the player's location as a target when you press the F key. At this point, and other points like these, the player would use his radar to help him see patterns in the movement of the death balls. The level will restart if either the player or Subject 11 touch the death balls. They now come across a pressure plate that keeps the door open. Seeing as Subject 11 was injured getting through the death ball maze, he offers to stay behind to keep the door open. The player now enters what is to be believed as the final room. He can hear one of the scientists say that no one has made it this far before, and he is grateful for the things they have learnt from him, but that it is now time for him to die. The walls start moving in, and they now need to stack the boxes, shoot the window, and escape in time. Notice that the window is in the blue frame, indicating again to the player that it can be fractured. If the walls were to touch the player, the level would reset. Now the player needs to get through this big steel door and tries to shoot it, but it doesn't work, so they continue a different way. They come across a room marked as containing explosives, but a key is required, so they look for it. When they find it, they pick it up, and it appears in the HUD, which then disappears once the player uses it to open the door. They then pick up a bomb to use to blow up the steel door. After another puzzle or two, the player reaches a new location where he meets Subject 11 again. He offers to help you this time by moving the lift up or down for you, so you can continue. The player can do this by pressing keys M and N, which will then move Subject 11 on the buttons that control the lift. Once the player is at the top, they then need to operate the crane by pushing keys 1 to 4, which activate the different animations to bring the bridge over. They can then use it to cross the gap into the end zone. The player needs to be quick though, as there are many more death balls which will chase them until they get to the end, which will complete the level.